there.
Welcome to Two Tangled Skeins. I'm Sue, also known as Crafty Knitter 7.
I'm Selma123 on Ravelry.
Today we are Saturday, April 23rd, 2016. This is episode 156. I'd like to welcome new and returning viewers.
Hello.
And as you can see, Lynn's not here.
Right, there are only two of us today. We also have a group on Ravelry, another group on Facebook. There's the Two Tangled Skeins blog, and on YouTube, on Twitter, and we're on Instagram.
Yep.
Holy camole.
Yep. We're everywhere.
It looks like it.
Mm-hmm.
It does. So how are you doing?
Good. You?
Good.
I had a very, very busy and productive week this week.
Excellent.
So, yeah, I think I'm getting back into my groove now.
At work, you mean?
Yep. I think I am, and like every day I think, okay, I've only got this and this to do, and then it's like, it's 4 o'clock, which is good. And we started something different with my boss this time, is every morning I meet with her for 15 minutes. Instead of having a meeting once a week,
yeah,
we're doing a 15-minute a day, because I did that with Jennifer, who was acting.
Right.
And it seems to be working, and she's happy with it, so.
Excellent. So you know what you're doing, you know what you
I
do. And
I do. And it makes me make lists, right? Okay, this is what I need to do today. This is what I need to do, like it.
And I get the impression that you might like making lists. I have to say, so do I, so.
I don't know what you mean. I do have a bullet journal, so, I wonder.
Oh, excuse me. I just realized I forgot something in my bag. So I'm just going to reach down. Well, I have had my aunt visiting. My mom's sister has come from Finland and for 2 weeks, so she's been visiting, and that's been really, really nice. I haven't seen her in 9 years. We
infringing on the knitting, but it's family.
Yeah, I'm not getting as much knitting time. But she is an expert in the crafts because she actually schooled in that and taught it in high schools. And still does stuff all the time. She used to weave, she sews, she's an expert knitter, and I'll talk a little bit more about that later because she helped me with a project that I've had a really hard time getting going. And it's just been really nice having her with us.
I have to pause, my phone's ringing.
We're going to pause.
And we're back.
And we're back.
Unfortunately,
there's a bit of a family emergency.
There's a family emergency. My daughter her dad is visiting from Toronto, and they're at his sister's house building a shed, and her grandfather tried to help with something, and either a whole wall of a shed or a bunch of wood fell on him. So, yeah. They're en route to the hospital right now.
Yeah, hopefully that gets taken care of.
Oh, yeah. I'm sure he'll be okay.
Yeah.
You have to think positive.
Yeah.
But yeah, it's got to freak her out because watching that happen, right?
Absolutely.
And he shouldn't have been helping, but he's the type that wants to.
Whoa, yeah.
Like, he's the type that wants to help with everything.
Absolutely.
But.
And that's great.
He's getting a little frail in his older age, but.
And that happens.
Yeah.
But it's nice having. I like having, I have to say, older family members around.
Mm-hmm.
They are always helpful.
He thinks he can still do what he did when he was young.
Yeah.
That's the thing. It's like, you just can't stop this man.
Yeah.
But, so, that was that.
Yeah, so anyway, my aunt's been here. It's been really, really awesome seeing her. And my mother's really enjoying having her around, and they've been doing a lot together. And we went to Montreal last weekend, which was awesome. And if anybody's on Instagram, you saw me posting pictures from the Pompeii exhibit at the Musée des Beaux-Arts in Montreal, which was an awesome exhibit. So if you're going to Montreal, check it out. And we even got the little listening things.
How long is it there for?
I can't remember if it's there till June or until September.
Yeah, it's usually quite a long time for those things.
Yeah, and then it's great. There are installations, there's artifacts, and it goes from everything from, food, aqueduct tubes and piping. There's a room about sex. There's all kinds of stuff. It's just hilarious. And then there's also footage from the 1944 eruption of the volcano, and
that was the last eruption, right?
Yeah. So anyway, it's a fascinating exhibit, and we had a really good time. The three of us just went on our own and stayed in a hotel and saw a good friend of mine, and it was lots of fun.
Which friend lives in Montreal?
My good friend Paul, who's married to the. Well, I remember I made those socks not long ago, and I called them for my friend who got the teacher job.
Yeah,
that's his partner.
Nice.
So, yeah, it was really awesome. And then you and I went to the Ottawa Guild meeting.
On Monday.
Yeah, Monday night was the Ottawa Knitters Guild meeting. And so we saw some local knitters there.
I wasn't going to go, but Anne Hansen was there.
Anne Hansen, the Anne Hansen.
In the flesh.
She gave a workshop during the weekend on... Actually, I'm not 100% sure what the theme of the workshop was. It's something to do with designing, I think, for sure. And other aspects, I'm not sure. And she gave a talk about being sustainable knitters, in the sense that, you know, using materials wisely, about buying materials wisely, reusing things, storing things well so you keep them as long as you can.
She produces her own yarn.
Yeah, I didn't know that, actually. Yeah. They produce their own yarn. She was a neat person to listen to. It was interesting. And actually, we didn't mention the previous time that we went, when we had Yoga for Knitters.
Yes. And
that was really great. And actually, Marcia of Fairy Little, or who is Fairy Little, of the Twitch and Stitch podcast, a couple of episodes ago, she talked about stretches for hands and shoulders for knitters. And the Yoga for Knitters was, that talk and little session was given by a local yoga teacher and knitter.
You know, right?
Yeah, who I happen to know. She gave it. And a lot of the exercises were very similar, about stretching your hand in different ways and stuff like that. So the guild meetings have been quite neat. I like.
They have been.
Yeah,
and it's once a month. I've been missing. Monday nights is my knit night that's close to here, and I mean, Knitting Guild is only once a month, but I've still been missing my Monday nights. And when I want to go, it's like, oh no, it's the guild tonight.
Yeah,
but meh.
Yeah, no, but I'll definitely join next year. It's great. So yeah, and every once in a while we meet some viewers there as well. So hello, guild people.
Yeah, I mean, one of the teachers that was at the retreat is there, so we've come acquainted with her.
José Labrie, who's Tricoton on
Ravelry.
On Ravelry, and she's got some patterns. She's designed some things as well.
She makes bags too.
And it turns out she has rats too.
Kind of awesome. She didn't realize we had a podcast. That's what she said.
Yeah.
So
hello, José.
Yep.
And yeah. So that's been the week pretty much, eh? It's busy, busy, busy.
So what do you want to start with? What you're wearing or your faux?
Well, let's start with what I'm wearing, because that seems the way to go. Well, I was talking to Sue and I was saying, you know, so far I've been wearing the sweaters that I really love and the sweaters that I wear a lot. But there are some sweaters in my cupboard or my closet that I don't wear very often. And this is one of them. In fact, I haven't worn it all winter. It's actually mostly because it's a slightly odd color, and I think it looks better on me when I'm tanned, and so wearing it in the winter or the spring is, I don't know, it just doesn't end up happening. Yeah. But I thought I would wear it. I wouldn't call it a dud at all.
She wanted to show that she's not a perfect knitter. And not everything works out.
Well, not everything works out. And I can't blame the sweater or the design. This is the Winnipeg sweater, designed by Agnes Kutas-Kerestes. I think she's a Hungarian.
It that one?
No, it's not.
Okay.
But it featured in an Interweave Knits magazine from the winter of 2014. It's called the Winnipeg, which is a city here in Canada. So gotta love the name of the sweater. And this publication. What do we call them again?
Whatever.
Had a whole series on waffle stitches. So this is a waffle stitch pattern, as you can see on there. Like the blueberry socks, that's another waffle stitch pattern. And so there's a whole series.
I thought it was the one on the cover and you modified it.
No, it's this one here, which is a beautiful sweater. And it's well-written pattern. There was one minor thing that I would do differently next time, is they have 2 knit stitches for the increases on and decreases for the waist shaping, and you just always have this sort of ridge of 2 stitches, and I think I would just not do that next time. What I don't love about this sweater, as I said, the color is slightly awkward and that it's just not always that easy combinable.
I think it looks good on you, especially with the accent piece.
Yeah, I feel like I need something there.
Yeah, it really looks
kind
good.
Of break
it
up.
would almost be nice as a Henley.
Yeah.
You know, to break that up a bit. But yeah.
But what I loved about the one in here was the richness of the yarn. And I ended up, and this is Haiku Kenzie. I cannot remember the combination of fibers in that yarn, but I ended up using Elizabeth Lavel Silky Wool. Is that what I used?
Yep.
Yeah. Silky Wool, which is a wool silk nylon blend. And silk just, especially when it's that kind of more tweedy-like silk, it just doesn't have any smooshiness to it, right? It doesn't have any squishiness or smooshiness. Do you like the adjectives?
Yes.
But I think you probably understand. There's no like bounce to it. It's very lie flat. And this one looks like it has a lot of springiness to it. And so I kind of wish that I had used a different yarn. I think I would have enjoyed the sweater a little bit more. Like I made the On the Grass with the Malabrigo Arroyo, and it's got that springiness, and I kind of wished I had used a different yarn.
Okay.
And maybe made something different with it. But it fits well. It turned into a nice sweater. And in fact, when I first finished it, I was disappointed with the fit, and I gave it to my mom. She loved it. And then the first time she washed it, she said, "Oh, it actually stretched quite a bit. You can have it back." And then it actually fit me more nicely. So I probably should have washed it to begin with to see how it was going to turn out. But the sleeves got a lot longer. Well, not a lot longer, but they just ended up with a little bit of a
bell shape.
A bit of a bell shape there. Although perhaps if I've been folding them over, so that probably hasn't helped. But maybe I should wear a little bit more. Do you think I should? Okay. Maybe I'm just being a bit funny. Didn't quite turn out with the idea that I had in my head.
Well, and the fact that you're not 100% happy with it might be one of the things why you don't wear it, because you're just not happy with it.
Yeah.
But I think that color looks great on you.
Well, thank you. Okay. This was a bottom-up construction where you did to the armpits, and then you did the sleeves, and then you went in the round and did the decreases up here, and it's got a nice neck on it.
But you actually did it bottom up. You didn't switch it.
Nope, I didn't switch it. I knit it exactly the way it's supposed to be. So there you go. This is one of my sweaters that I'm not quite as happy with, more because of the yarn choice than the actual sweater itself.
Cool.
So there you go. That's one FO. The other FO, I posted on Instagram last night, and I love them. They turned out so fun. It's my Franken socks. Franken socks. And because I used all little leftovers from the blanket that I'm making for my daughter, and I'm making a blanket for a girl, so it's mostly, fun, light, vibrant colors, that's what ended up being in the socks. So I kind of find that
they match, sort of.
Yeah, it's almost like a pattern. It's bizarre. I did manipulate, as everybody knows from our conversation in the Cal thread, I did manipulate a little bit the toes. I used this sort of, it's actually a Baronvola yarn in a peach colorway at the top, and then this was some toe that I already had made for another sock out of something really like a Scandinavia. I think it was the Sisu sock yarn that I had in ochre. And then from my Crazy Dog socks that I finished last time, I used for this heel and another reddish pinkish one here. So there's kind of a matching thing happening with the toes and the heels, and then the rest, it just was what it was. But I did it as a toe up with an afterthought heel with 2.25 millimeters.
And you also didn't rush and join. You joined each skein one at a time.
I did, and I just sewed in the ends. And honestly, it probably took about a half an hour per sock. Yeah. Not the end of the world.
Which is, I'm less choosing because mine are rush and joined, and I didn't choose to put this green and this green together. I just went with it.
But that's going to be fun. And because you use a lot of greens, you're going to end up with a cohesiveness, I think, to it as well. So anyway, really fun. I don't have a lot of bits left, although I think I might have some somewhere that I just haven't found. But I probably will make a pair for my daughter because I think she'll just love them. And I'm thinking of collecting more neutral colors together and maybe making a pair for my husband. My son is unlikely at his age to want to wear these types of things. So, but my daughter would for sure. So there you go. That's my other FO.
Awesome.
I was hoping to have another FO, but it didn't happen.
So close.
So close. But it didn't happen. What about you? Do you have any FOs?
No. I haven't had an FO in a while. Kind of depressing. But I'm a process knitter.
Right.
Reaction?
But you have been working very hard on something.
I have.
Mm-hmm. Shall we move to whips?
We should.
Yeah.
So what's in my hands right now, I'm not finished
The
the row,
Franken socks.
are the Franken socks, and they've grown about, I'd say, an inch. Let's see if I can get this in front of the camera.
Do you know what that yellow yarn is?
No. So my marker's here. So it's hard to see it. There you go.
Really great.
No, I don't know what the yellow is. I haven't a clue. And so this one's very colorful, and this one's like, green. Which I don't mind, and I'm pulling things off the needles. I should probably.
So
not
what
do
size
that.
needles are you doing? And she's doing 2 at a time. She
Yeah.
made 2 magic cakes.
Nope, one magic cake. I'm pulling from
Right.
the inside and the outside.
Oh, right. Which was my suggestion, and then I totally forgot.
So my magic cake, and you can see it from the other side, but I'm pulling from the inside and the outside. And these are 2.25 millimeters, which is a US 1.
Yes, and it looks like Addy Turbos.
They are my Addy Turbos. I actually have 2 pairs of 2.5s, a pair of 2.75, and then the 2.25, which I'm going to get more because my daughter's socks have dropped from a 2.75 to a 2.5 because when I made the gummy bear socks, they were for me on a 2.5 and they fit her perfectly. And the other ones that I had made are a little bit loose. And then I noticed my socks are always loose, so maybe I should go down too. So the only person who hasn't changed needle sizes is my husband's socks. But yeah, it's fun.
They are fun.
I'm haven't knit. I mean, I knit an inch, but I haven't knit a lot because the next thing I'm going to show you.
But can I just say something about the Franken socks?
Yes.
I think for some of us, there's an interesting process, mental process that kind of needs to happen with the Franken socks. You kind of need to get over the fact that
They're not going to match.
They're not going to match.
It's difficult.
And they are going to come out the way they're going to come out. And I mean, everybody knows that I had a little bit of anxiety about this in the beginning.
I procrastinated casting them on, and you forced me to do it because I was just like looking at yours, going.
And while I was knitting mine too, I'm like, okay. But I mean, I think there are people out there who are way more relaxed about this kind of stuff. But I have to say, there was a little bit of a process,
Yep.
which is good. You know, I felt like I grew as
Yeah.
a person a little bit, just a smidge. I mean, Franken socks, but you know, it was fun, and I would do them again. But I have to say, I think that there is a part of me that's kind of like, okay, they gotta come out a certain kind of way. But whatever.
You still used bits, and you still put colors that you probably wouldn't have.
Yeah, because there were a couple of times I'm like, oh, I don't know.
I
if
picked a
this should have
color,
been
and
the-
she was like, I don't know about that, but it kind of looks okay.
yeah, it's fine.
So the thing I've been working on the most is my Waiting for Rain. I can't see, sorry. It's different when you're 2 people because you're in a different spot on the camera. Which is by Sylvia Bobilvia, who is Soft Sweater on Ravelry. And here is another picture so you can see the lace. And I have done quite a bit. Let's see where I was.
And this was out of Woolmeise.
Yeah, it's the
Is it the twin or the?
no, it's 100% pure.
It's the pure,
Where's
and it's
my
the
thing?
Palomino colorway,
Yes,
right?
Palomino, which apparently is not right. And
No,
I've knocked
apparently it
stitches
was. It
off.
was kind of an. Didn't somebody say that it was kind of an orangey brown?
Maybe.
I mean, that's not totally. It's more creamy, but
So you can see the sheep. That's where I was, and I did this whole section. Is this the back? No, that's the back. So I did this whole short row section, and I can't see the pattern in it, but Selma can. I'm just like, it's a jumbled mess, but apparently it's not. But lace, right? It'll, when you block it.
when you block it is when you'll really see it.
So I got quite a bit done. And the reason I'm motoring on this is because it's for the Knit Along with the Yarngasm podcast, who is Kristen Vollenvine on Ravelry. And it ends at the end on May 1st. So I'm trying to get it done, and I'm hoping I can do it, because I'd really like to actually finish a cowl for once. So yeah, this is on 4mm, which is a US 6. These are my signatures, and I'm using my Yarnet because this yarn tends to stick to itself. So when you're pulling the yarn off the cake, it's not coming off as fluidly as it should. So it tends to work better with my Yarnet.
I know that at the Edinburgh Yarn Festival, which I will be going to next year, March 10th and 11th, I think Wollmeise had a whole stand there. I have to say, I would like to see them in real life to make a choice, because I find
it's hard to see it online.
I find it often really hard, and because they're often quite strongly variegated, I don't know how I'm going to really feel about it.
The green one that I have has a lot of yellow green in it. I mean, but I didn't buy either one of them. One I got in a swap, and this brown Carrie gave me because I did something for her. I don't know. She gave me 2 skeins of Wollmeise. I was just like, oh, okay. So
yeah.
And then the other thing that I got progress on, and I'm at the I'm at the heel. So these are my husband's Boba Fett socks. Let me turn them so you guys can see them. So these are his Boba Fett socks. I'm having issues here. There we go. Or not. So where the orange marker is where I was. So I got a couple inches done. I'm ready to do the heels, and I think I'm going to do the fish lips. And I can't remember. I think I need to take them off from being 2 at a time to do that. It's just, I think I tried to do it last time and it didn't work 2 at a time. And these are on 2.75mm, my Addi Turbos, my Addi Sock Rocket Turbos. And the yarn is Boba Fett by Yoo-Hoo Knits, who is Georgina, who used to live in Toronto. I believe she's moved back to Ireland. And then I'll show you the bag that this one was kept in. It's an Irish bag, because, you know, by Yarntasia. And then Mandy Pinecone made me this. So because it's for my husband and he's Irish, there's all the Irish. Those are my whips.
Excellent. Well, listen, I'm just at the end of my row.
Well,
but all right,
go for it.
Yeah. So I am working on the Highland Peaks shawl designed by Mina Phillip, our darling Mina, who's Mina86 on Ravelry, who has the Knitting Expat podcast. I am sure you know who she is. I hope you do, and if you don't, then hurry up. Get over there.
Get with that.
Yeah. So I'm just on the lace section. I don't know what happened yesterday. I discovered that something was wrong on the beginning row, so I had to rip out a whole bunch. I was hoping to have this finished and possibly give to my aunt. She leaves on Wednesday, so we'll see what happens. I may be able to do it if I get some knitting time tonight. We have a friend coming over for dinner, and the kids are probably not going to be around, so we might play Scrabble instead of something really, really interactive. And if we play Scrabble, I will have time to knit.
Yeah.
So anyway, I'm knitting it out of mostly leftovers. It's
your Franken shawl.
The blue and the white are, I made a vest out of the blue, and I made the Coda sweater out of the cream. And then I went and bought 2 more balls of the same yarn, which is the Diamond Luxury Yarns Merino Luxe, which was a wool mohair alpaca blend. And I went and bought a couple in this purple. So it's going to be a blue.
Do you just realize, sorry, I don't mean to cut you off, but look at the purple on the camera.
It's working. And on your t-shirt, David Bowie.
Oh, yeah. So,
seeing as we're losing all our great stars. Yeah. There was a post by another podcaster around lighting. And she was talking about having lighting at 45-degree angles. And so I said, all right, we're trying that, because I feel like we're always struggling with lighting.
We've been struggling with lighting forever, but I mean, we're not professionals.
But I think today I think this 45-degree angle business is working.
Yes, the light is over there. It's turned down halfway, and the window is there.
Yeah.
We did have the overhead light on, but we turned it off.
Yeah, because we didn't really need it. I think if it were an overcast day, perhaps it would be beneficial. But anyway, so there you go. So I don't even know what size needles I'm doing this on. Do I know? Did I say? I think it's 5 or 5.5. Whatever the pattern said, actually,
Those
is what
are
I'm using.
bigger than that's
5.5.
probably
And
a
they're
6.
my arrows. Nothing of any consequence. Just ordinary needles that I happen to have in my ridiculous needle stash, because I only buy fixed circulars. So I'm hoping to have this done by this weekend. It's great. It's a worsted weight shawl, so it's going very fast, and I hope it's going to be a decent size. So I'll put that to the side for now. What else am I working on? The other thing that I'm working on, I'll show you the bag later. Whoop! I forgot to tell you that my shawl by Mina is being housed in my bag by Jenna Rose, which I showed you last time too. She is beautiful hand-printed linen fabrics, made by a woman,
right?
local woman, and she's Jenna Rose on Etsy. I remember there was somebody in the group who I enabled and who went and bought stuff. I can't remember who you are, but do come and show us what you bought. But anyway, I love this bag, and I love the quality of the material. So my next work in progress, last time I was here, I showed you a stash acquisition, which was Hedgehog sock yarn in the pistachio colorway, which is this right here. It's a little bit being blown out by the light, but I'm not wearing my glasses today, so I'm squinting again. But it's this wonderful pastels.
Put it closer, you'll probably see.
Think so?
Yep.
There you go, smarty pants. And I'm even out of focus, and the yarn is in focus. Smart camera.
Mm-hmm.
So I started a pair of socks, the peppermint mocha sock? Peppermint macchiato socks by CC Emin, but I loved the pattern, but it just wasn't working with the yarn somehow, and I had to ask Sue.
You know when yarn speaks to you.
Yeah, and so then I decided that I was gonna do the Fine and Dandy, and I hope to do the peppermint socks with another yarn at some point.
With the more solid yarn, you said.
Yeah, or
maybe
or darker or something. I'm not quite sure. It just wasn't really. And I was in Montreal, and I texted Sue a picture. I'm like, "What do you think?" She was like, "I'm not so sure." I'm like, "Neither am I. I don't know why." It's a great, easy pattern, but it just wasn't working.
It needs the right yarn.
I'm doing the Fine and Dandy socks by the Sweater Company. And I just started, and I did the first little daisy stitch type thing. It's not actually a daisy stitch. It's a different kind of stitch.
But you were that far along in the other ones, and we were like, nope.
No, I was a little further along, actually. But
well, you kept knitting.
Yeah, I just kept going because I kept thinking, okay, maybe if I knit a little longer, this is going to speak to me, and it just wasn't speaking to me.
Says no knitter ever.
So there you go. Those are the Fine and Dandies. They're on my ChiaoGoos. But I somehow don't know what I was thinking. I've got these ridiculously long, I think they were the 42-inch ones or 40-inch ones, and they're 2 millimeters. I usually do 2.25s. I'm like, oh well, whatever. That's what I started, and I realized after, these are not the right needles. So
well, what you could have done is at the toe. When the toe was done, you could have switched.
It's all right.
They'll be fine. You can put them on sock blockers and stretch them a bit.
And that's actually what I knit last weekend because I really want to get the shawl finished, so I haven't knit more. But as soon as the shawl's finished, I'm going to pay a lot of attention. Beautiful colors in the Hedgehog fibers, I have to say. Like, as the colors are coming out, I'm just like, oh, stunning. It's a little splitty. This is the Hedgehog Fibers sock. I think it's 90% wool and 10% nylon, and it's a slightly loosely spun. It's a little bit splitty, but that would not stop me from using it again. I have to say,
people rave about Hedgehog, and they'll be in Edinburgh.
They will.
I might be sending some money with Selma when she goes to Scotland.
Yeah, Selma's kind of thinking what kind of suitcase she should bring. Selma might have to convince her friend to bring a special kind of suitcase so she can stuff stuff in her suitcase.
It's kind of like when you guys go to Uruguay. I need all this room for yarn.
Yeah.
So when are you going back to Uruguay?
You know what? Now that I've started dyeing yarn a little bit here and there, I was thinking about actually asking my family to go and buy a bag of natural colored yarn.
That'd be cool.
We were actually talking, well, my kids really want to go. They love going to Uruguay. They love hanging out with their cousins, going to the beach. I mean, who wouldn't, right?
It's just so relaxing for you.
It is. It's a 3-block walk to the beach. We eat. we nap. We go to the beach.
It's so rough.
It's really rough.
I look at pictures and go, oh.
But my husband and I were thinking of not going, but the kids really wanted to go. So we started talking to my son and my daughter about the possibility of their going on their own. My son's 12, my daughter's 9, so by next Christmas they would be 10 and 13. And depending on the flights you choose, we could, like, there is one possibility of going Ottawa, Toronto, Toronto, Santiago de Chile, and then Montevideo. And we were thinking if we flew to Toronto with them, and then they just took the flight from Toronto to Santiago, and then their aunt would fly from Montevideo to Santiago, pick them up, and fly back with them.
Okay.
It really wouldn't, there wouldn't be a lot of time on their own.
And they have people who will watch kids on flights.
But Air Canada has really weird rules around kids traveling on their own, and it seems practically impossible that they would allow our kids to meet up with the aunt unless the ticket's bought from here. And I don't. There's just, it's very complicated. So we're still looking into it.
You can't send a letter along with saying this is a family member, and
I'm not quite sure. We have to find out. We have to call Air Canada and really negotiate it. Mm-hmm. The other possibility was to go through the States.
But then again, when I was sending my kids to Toronto on the bus, it had to be their father at the other end.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. Like, right. I think, yeah. So the other possibility is to go Ottawa, some American city, through Miami, and then directly to Montevideo. And I think that was with United Airlines or American Airlines, and they have a far better assistance program. But then it was like, well, are they really going to do it? Like, are my kids going to end up lost at the Miami airport? So, and my son's starting to express some nervousness about it, so it might not end up happening. But
you also talked about Italy.
Yeah, we've talked about all kinds of things. But, you know, money does
These
eventually
kids are
run
well
out.
traveled.
Well, yeah. I think kids in Europe who live in Europe and they just go all over the place, they're well traveled.
Yeah.
But, so I don't know when we're going to go to Uruguay next. We'll have to see.
Yeah, because you used to go every 3 years?
We go every 2 or 3 years.
It's a huge expense, though, for a family
It's a
of 4.
big trip. It's a, you know, we have to save a little bit of money. We really couldn't do it more often. So, the last work in progress, that was a little digression there.
Yeah,
the last work in progress is a shawl that I have tried to cast on several times. And when my aunt showed up, I said, would you do me a favor and try and start this shawl for me? And even she had a hard time getting it. She determined after 2 tries that it wasn't the pattern. There was nothing wrong with the pattern, but it requires a lot of concentration in the beginning. So she has actually been able to start it for me. And I've seen lots of projects, so it's totally doable. Mm-hmm. But
it's just a weird beginning.
Yeah, so she had to start it about 4 times. I tried starting it about 4 times, but she's actually got it going. It's the oscilloscope pattern shawl, which is knit sideways. So it goes from a small point to the V and then back. And it's by Kate Gagnon Osborne.
That's kind of neat because you go big and then you start going small towards the end.
Yes, in a way that's kind
Right.
of nice that you don't finish with like these ridiculously long rows like most shawls are.
Really pretty.
And yeah, so I'm making that, and I've been wanting to make it for a long time. And there is a better picture.
There you go.
There you go. I even had the yarn picked out, which was something I did get in Uruguay at the Malabrigo yarn at the factory, or the mill. It's not a mill because they just dye there. Oh dear, and it's a little bit of there's a bit of a mess here. It's the Arroyo, which I've already used in my on the grass sweater in the blue colorway, and this is I think it's the Chircas colorway, which is an olive green.
It's gorgeous.
It's really rich, really beautiful. Now my aunt's gotten this far, and I have to be honest, this is not my whip yet, but it will be my whip, because once I finish the Highland Peak shawl, I'll be working on this. But it's really beautiful so far. I love it. It's going to be a gorgeous green fall.
I like how it's got this edge on it, and then
yeah, and that's the thing, is
the
it's
yarn
kind of got an
overs.
I-cord edge happening on both sides and other stuff happening. So I don't know. It's just, and as she said, you just really have to count each row and pay attention to each row in the beginning, and then it's
you're
fine.
okay.
Yeah, but I'm really happy. I think these are 5mm needles. And again, they're just
Looks
some
about it, which is a US 8.
arrows that I have. I probably should get some other needles, but
Hey, if it works for you, it works for you.
that's fine. The only needles I really don't like are bamboo needles.
You don't have to have fancy needles, right? I just like the interchangeable option. That's all.
Yeah.
Because you get a bunch of cables and a bunch of tips, and you can, and with the ones that I have from Knitter's Pride, they interchange with knit picks.
Yeah.
So I can swap. Like sometimes I don't use my knit picks, the nickel ones, a lot, but there are times when I need them.
Mm-hmm.
But then I have all my cords from my knit picks, which I got up to a 60-inch.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah, that's awesome.
Yeah.
Yeah, I
And hey, if she needs something else, there's other people who have needles.
sometimes they borrow, they lend. What was I going to say? I do not remember. Anyway, this is in a bag by Lara of The Fawn and the Fox. She's also got a podcast called The Fawn and Fox, and this is from her Etsy shop. So, I love her.
Gee, matchy sweater. Huh.
Oh, yeah, there's a little bit of an ochre thing that happens with me. I do love...
You know me in green?
Well, I love gray. You know what? There's no color that I don't like. Sometimes there's a particular tone or hue that just doesn't work for me, but I just love color. And that's that.
Mm-hmm.
So those.
I have one more thing I want to show.
Oh, yeah?
I'm just transferring stitch markers so I can actually see the stitch marker on my socks. There. Okay, so I did some spinning.
Ooh.
On my electric eel wheel that I got for Christmas that I've been very frustrated with because I couldn't really get it. And the other day I went, you know what? I'm sitting down and I'm doing this.
Damn it.
And I'm practicing and I've got a bunch of little bumps that I can practice with. And it's finally working. See, I can carry this around. You don't have to take a bobbin off. You don't have to do anything. So
Looks great.
yeah, so it's just a bunch of little bumps that I got. It's like it was in a little package. I think they're merino. But the only problem is I really have to hide this. Kitty.
Oh my gosh.
She was even going after this part.
Oh,
Yeah,
jeez.
she's insane. She's crazy.
This is your sick kitty.
This is my sick kitty, which, update on sick kitty, because I have gotten a ton of messages from
That's
people.
nice. Thanks for it.
It gives me the goosebumps that you guys are sending me messages with ideas or who've had sick animals, the same thing, and it's been really like it's a community. I love it. But we did a couple spot checks on her last week, and the numbers were not good. They were kind of the same as the other numbers. They were too high. And today, well, we talked to the vet, and the vet said bump up her insulin another half. So we did that. Mind you, this insulin we can only go up to 3, and we're at 2.5. We took a reading this morning. What time was it? It was 10:30. So 4 hours after her insulin shot, and she was at 6.
That's perfect, isn't it?
It's really good. The last time we did that, she was more closer to 8, almost 9. And so that wasn't good. Then we took her blood again just before you got here. She was at 6.2, where she was at 12 at this time any other time. So it doesn't mean to say that she doesn't have the Cushing's disease, because she has all the symptoms like the hair, and she has a lot of the symptoms of the Cushing's disease. But if we can get diabetes under control, she might be okay.
But does the Cushing's disease affect the diabetes?
It could.
Okay.
Yeah. And the Cushing's disease, she could have a tumor, which could be affecting her diabetes in a negative way. But if we can get the diabetes under control, then we can say, okay, what are our next steps, right?
Now, I didn't see her when I came in because it was actually your orange cat who came to say hello.
Oh, Neo.
Yeah, he doesn't usually do that.
No.
But she usually comes and meows. So I didn't see her. Is she as pathetic looking as she was?
The hair's going back on her neck, and it's
Okay,
kind of
good.
splotchy, but it just looks weird. Poor thing. But no, and so I'm emptying the litter box every day because I'm watching how much urine is in the litter box. We're watching how much she drinks, and I think she's been drinking less, although tomorrow we're really going to be like on it. I'm going to be in the living room either knitting or spinning and watching how many times she actually goes to drink. Because we have to document it all. And having 2 cats in a litter box is not easy, but I know which one is hers. It's always the bigger one. It's always the bigger spot because she drinks so much. Her belly gets cold because she drinks so much water, which the vet thought was weird. We're like, no, her belly's cold. She drinks so much. And she has that gurgly sound. You know, you drink too much water. It's hilarious. The vet was like, what do you mean her belly's cold? She was like, oh. Yeah, we've shown the vet
It's
a
all
few
that
things.
ice water that she drinks.
Yeah. So,
poor thing.
crossing our fingers, hoping that this is a sign that's going better, because if we have to go into the vet and have the talk, my daughter's going to have to come with us. This is her cat. And if the talk is not a good talk, she needs to hear this from the vet.
Yeah.
So, that's that. Kitty update. Kitties and knitting.
Kitties and knitting. Oh my goodness. Speaking of kitties, I have a 17-year-old. Her name is Suko. She's been with me since she was about this big. She was a street cat. She was born in my friend's shed. And she's 17. She's turning 17 around now. I don't know exactly when she was born, but I think it was either end of April, beginning of May.
Yeah.
I got her when she was probably too young, but that's the way it was.
Better than being on the street.
Yeah. And then I have a 2-year-old, Yoda, who is a serious huntress. I cannot let her near the little rats, anywhere near them. We've had a couple of incidents.
She goes,
where she was on the bottom bunk of my daughter's bed. Their cage opens up onto the bottom bunk so they can walk around. And Einstein, one of the rats, was behind the pillow, and I could practically see him doing his Hail Mary. And she was on the other side.
He's on his
of
back paws doing the...
She was on the other side of the pillow just waiting for it to move. Anyway, the other night we're in the house and we hear a cat fight happening outside. And I'm like, oh, can somebody open the door and call the cats? And there was some cat that I'd never seen outside threatening the cats, and there was a fight going on. And so the cat, I'm not sure if Yoda came in, but Suko came in. And the next morning she was limping. And I was like, oh, darn. So, well, one good thing was that they were actually against this guy together, because these 2 cats do not get along. Suko will never like Yoda.
But they were together.
But I think what happened, and Suko has gotten into fights in the past, and I've had to take her to the vet because she's ended up with an abscess. Clearly she was bitten by another animal and then would have an abscess or something, an infection, and had to be on antibiotics. And so I was like, okay, let's wait for 24 hours. And sure enough, the limping was gone by the next morning. I think she just exerted herself. I mean, she is 85 in human years, right? Mm-hmm. So I think she probably went for this male cat and kind of hurt herself a little.
Yeah.
So she's back to being her normal elderly self.
One of my friends has a 19-year-old cat.
I think she's going to live to be 19.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's true. She and I talked about it. So, anyway, there's more cat
stuff
news for the
week. Jabber, as we do.
Yeah.
So, what's next?
Are we going on to Stash next?
No.
We're going on to Stitch Talk
New
next?
section. Stitch Talk. Sewing, cross-stitching.
Are you going to show anything?
No.
Oh, it's just me?
It's just you this time.
Okay.
I will next time.
Well, as you all know, I recently took sewing classes, and I also bought myself a sewing machine.
She's got the bug.
I really do. In fact, I think that's also another reason that I'm just not knitting as much, and I don't even fantasize about knitting practically. I'm not knit dreaming. I'm sew dreaming. But I don't have a whole lot of time to work on sewing, so I tend to do it in little bits. But my Fine and Dandy socks that I showed you earlier
I love this
are
bag.
being housed in the first, well, no, it's not the first. This is the 3rd drawstring, because I gave one to Lynn, and I made one for my friend Dana, who also watches the podcast in Germany. And so then I thought, well, I'd like to have one for myself. So I made this one out of this fabric. I'm kind of calling it my girly goth bag.
I love it.
It's got this polka dotted fabric on the bottom. Oh, it's also got a thread. And it's got a little something different happening on each side. And then it's got kind of a lavender mauve or mauve kind of interior.
Really nice.
And there we go. Now, the new sewing machine's great, but I am so new at sewing that I don't even know what I don't know. And
she can't troubleshoot.
And I can't troubleshoot because I just don't even understand what the problem could possibly be. And so the sewing on this bag, there's a lot of sort of gaps because the tension just wasn't right. I don't know if you can see that, but where the threads are kind of, you know, like you can see them between the two pieces of fabric. So I've since improved. I actually took the shop where I bought the sewing machine, gave me a 1-hour lesson on all the aspects of the machine, even cleaning it and everything, and they showed me a little bit about some of the different things you can do to improve tension, so that you don't end up with those things, which seems to be happening. Sorry, I've got a fluff finger about my nose. So anyway, so I've managed to make this bag, which I would say was a great success. Despite the little tension issues on there, it's still totally usable and I like it. There's a little mistake here where there's a bit of a difference between the where this bottom dark fabric
which we
ends.
all do.
But otherwise, I really, really love it. I love the fabric. It was really fun.
It is fun.
And then the other bag I made with leftovers from one of the tote bags that I made. In fact,
I love that bag.
it's the tote bag that I made for myself out of this Japanese, I think it's sort of a cotton linen canvas type material. And so I still have some left over. I still have more. And so I made myself a wedge bag. Whoop. There's one side. And then the other side looks like this. And I bought this kind of watercolored, kind of very simple quilting fabric for the inside. But there's a problem. First of all, there's a tension problem along the zipper and the fabric.
Mm-hmm.
But it closes wonderfully. Oh, it actually opened more easily, but there's a problem because somehow I think I was too enthusiastic with being as close as possible for the zipper that I got a little too close.
Mm-hmm.
So even though I've done top stitching to hold down the fabric,
yeah, you've gotten too close, and then you've got this.
There's not a whole lot. Like
there's not a lot, but it's enough that when it's folded over.
So my lesson from this is that when I've sewn the fabric onto the zipper, I need to fold it down and iron it, which I didn't do, and I think that that would have helped for sure.
I think that's going to work.
Yeah. So I think that it's starting to ease up a little bit, and I might actually be able to use it. But anyway.
See, it's probably getting
so,
caught.
You know, little things that I'm still learning because, yeah, still a lot to learn.
It's not getting caught.
Yeah. But I was cutting more fabric earlier to make some more bags.
I really love this.
It's beautiful, eh?
It is. Good job.
It's beautiful, beautiful fabric. Japanese cotton.
Mm-hmm.
Anyway.
And it looks so different because it's a different part of the bag. Right? Like that has all, you know what I mean? The print?
Yeah, yeah.
It makes it like it's a different bag.
So my aunt, I'm starting to accumulate a little bit of a fabric stash. My aunt, I asked her to bring me some fabric from Finland, Marimekko fabric from Finland, so I thought I would just bring you the fabric to show. If you know anything about Marimekko, or if you look at design at all, you will recognize this pattern because this is kind of like the quintessential Marimekko design. It's called unikko, which it means a kind of flower. Was it pansy? I think it means pansy. Anyway, it comes in all kinds of gazillion colors. The most traditional is the red. So she got me some of this blue, which is wonderful. She got this one for me, which is, I think, will make really fun bags, especially two-tone bags. Like if I do a black canvas along the bottom and then this, I think it'll be really, really fun. And then the last one, which is a wild fabric, and I'm not quite sure what I'm going to do with it. It just, let's see. It's just crazy.
The colors are coming out nice.
Yeah, it's really fun. I don't know what I'm going to make with it. It might be fun bags as well.
I think it would be because not one bag would be the same.
That's right. So, I don't know.
You've got like, what, 2 yards or a yard?
I think there are 2 meters.
Or meters, sorry. Yards, meters.
Whatever.
It's a lot.
It's a lot, so I don't know what I'm going to do with that.
Because, I mean, you could center this part in a bag. You could center the birds in a bag. Like, you could
Yeah,
It's
like
kinda
even that would make a fun bag. So I haven't quite decided yet. It might be something else.
tote bag,
Could be a fun tote bag.
cushion.
So I don't know yet, but that was really fun. And then I got a little bit enthusiastic, as I do about the library. One thing to know about me is that I'm a library addict. I take everything out of the library. Music comes out, I take it out of the library. Movies, books for my kids, cookbooks, knitting books, sewing books. And I know if I take them out over and over that I need to buy it.
There's a reason I bought her the cross stitch book.
I just kept taking it out. So I took a pile of books. I got probably about 20 sewing books out of the library.
You've got such a selection in the Ottawa Library compared to what I have here in Gatineau. Mostly French, mostly not a lot of good books.
Yeah. So I brought 3 books to show. 2 which I really like. 1 which I really want to like, but it's beyond my level for sure. So 2 books that I think are fantastic. This is an Amy Butler book called In Stitches. And it's all mainly house things, like, but it's neatly organized that it goes through the rooms in the house. So there's the living room, the kitchen, the bedroom, the bathroom, the office, and personal style projects. Mm-hmm. And there's some clothing. There's all kinds of different things, like there are pajama pants. And there's a kimono style house coat. And all kinds. Here are the sort of lounge pants in there. And the instructions are actually quite good. I'm reading it and going, okay, I could follow this pattern being a complete newbie. There are things like a bedside organizer.
Let me see. That's kind of neat.
Here's the kimono bathrobe. Whoop.
It's focused.
The fabric is just beautiful in that. One thing that I thought would be so much fun to make, it's meant for a cat. It's a kitty tunnel.
Rats.
I thought, wouldn't that be fun to make for the rats? A little small one. So, and then there's beautiful stuff for the house. There's, you know, all kinds of beautiful things. And so there's quite a variety of different types of projects in here, and they're rather well explained.
I have one book at my library called Small Stash Sewing by Amy Butler.
Oh!
24 projects using designer fat quarters.
That would be a cool one to get.
I will be going to get that
I
book.
think you should get that one. And the other one is
I need to buy that.
A book by Anna Graham, who is also the creator of Noodlehead, and she's got a blog. It's a great blog. And a lot of the patterns on the blog are in here, and vice versa.
I didn't realize how many of hers I had bookmarked in my sewing folder.
Stunning, stunning book. And it is separated into a section called To Wear, another one To Carry, and then To Use. So there is... You really liked this top, eh?
I love that.
Like, there's stuff like that. Like a beautiful, beautiful, beautiful top. But then there's even a bit of quilting. Here's this blanket. Oh, you really liked this.
Mm-hmm.
This is kind of like a sewing pin cushion holder.
Can make that with leftovers.
Thingamajiggy. Oh, totally.
Right?
You know, there are pillows.
There's tablet covers, phone cases, bags.
And gorgeous bags. Gorgeous, gorgeous bags. Different kinds of bags in here. That's just one of the bags.
Yeah.
But there are so many, and like even a little wallet, if you're so inclined.
Very well-rounded book.
Really well-rounded book. Now this one, I have to say, I have not looked to see how well it is written for a newbie like myself. I haven't paid as much attention to it because I just haven't had the time. But there are illustrations for each one, like drawings and written instructions as well.
Would you mind leaving that here for the weekend?
No.
So I can look at it?
Go for it.
Thank you.
I'll put it there so we don't forget.
Okay.
Now the other book that I've actually taken out of the library twice is a Japanese book. And I think like Japanese knitting patterns, they often leave, like you have to be knowledgeable because there are gaps in the instructions where...
Even in, like knitting.
Yes,
Yeah.
they use charts, and then you're just supposed to fill in the gap somehow. So I love it's mostly clothing. There are a couple of bags. I love the stuff in here, but I'm just not good enough yet to use this book. But I really like it. It's called Simply Sewn. It's by Michiyo Ito. Clothes for Every Season. So here is a beautiful kind of like flannel polka dotted jacket, for example. Polka dot bolero. They have here's one where there's actually a canvas tote bag with a leather handle, but there's also this dress.
Mm-hmm.
And the clothes are very simple and very lovely. You know, there's things like here's some shorts. She's wearing just a very flouncy kind of top. There's all kinds of stuff. So if you're more experienced, then this is a beautiful book.
Yeah.
With all kinds of lovely designs. I'm just not there yet. Nowhere near there yet. So
Cool.
So that's it for sewing, man.
Yep.
Whole hog.
So
Piles of books.
I started a thread with Selma's help in the Ravelry group called Finish It or Frog It. So basically it's in order to get advice for your current projects on the needles that are languishing, and either, you know, finish it or frog it, get people's, you know, get their ideas about the project and what they think.
Yeah.
Yeah. So I haven't posted. I will be posting in there because, you know, I'm the frog queen. Just saying.
Yeah, so if you feel like, I don't know what to do about this,
Mm-hmm.
Do I like this? Does this look like crap? Whatever. You can post in there and we'll respond, or anybody else can respond. It's not one for just for us to respond. You know,
No.
if you're a member
Anybody.
of the group, there are many of you that are so
I
wonderfully
think
active.
there's already somebody who posted a pair of
Oh,
socks
awesome.
saying should he do the second sock or not, and I didn't have a chance to respond.
So we'll get back to you, and anybody else could get back to you too.
Yeah.
It might end up causing more debate than anything, but hey.
Hey, we've had a finish it or frog it thread in the past, and it's been very
It was
fun.
fun.
Yeah.
That's great.
So on the boob tube, you.
On the boob tube, are we doing stash like last?
Yes.
Oh, we don't have a huge amount of stash this week.
No.
It's been a modest time. I just wanted to mention one podcaster, which is a new podcast here in Ottawa. She's actually only done one episode. She's a lovely, lovely knitter. It's she's a sort of, it's actually called The Gentle Knitter. She probably won't be podcasting very often. She was saying probably something like once a month. I told her about the Canada Cal, but I think the fact that she's not podcasting that often, she's just started, that might be a bit much. But her name is The Gentle Knitter. Go and check her out.
She's on YouTube.
She's on YouTube. She doesn't have a Ravelry group at this point, so you just have to look for her on YouTube. And it's The Gentle Knitter. It's a quiet, gentle podcast.
Mm-hmm. Thank you, Jose, for telling us about that. We
Yeah.
learned about that at our Knitting Guild meeting.
Yeah, so I watched that this week.
Yeah. And last but not least,
Stash
the stash. So we wanted to show something together because, you know, I jumped on the
Who
band.
enabled who here?
You enabled me. Yes.
I have been looking at this yarn for a long time.
Because you placed your order and then told me, and I was like, what?
Yeah, I've actually had this in my purchase section in my basket on Etsy probably for like 4 months.
I love that. You can just leave things there.
Yeah, and then you go back every once in a while and say, what do I have in there? Is something I really
But
need
it has
to buy?
a maximum of 99.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
So I think
Brandy
I'll have-
told us that.
How many do I have?
I think she got up and she was like, oh.
I think I might have 70 in there. Mm-hmm.
I think she said 99.
So then Lara of the Fawn and the Fox showed the exact one on her podcast, and I was like, that's it. I need to buy it. And I went, and then you were like, what? So we both bought yarn from Scrumptious Pearl. I got it in the Driftwood colorway. So this is kind of a salmon, taupe, and brown color.
Mine's called Coffee Run.
And hers is like a brown and a black and a light
cream,
coffee.
like cream.
a real cafe au lait kind of
Yeah.
color.
I couldn't resist.
Yeah, so really beautiful. I cannot wait. Oh, man, I have so many sock yarns I can't wait to use. Anybody out there in the same boat?
Says no knitter ever.
So,
Yeah. It is.
yeah, it's just beautiful.
Is yours the same superwash merino and nylon?
Yeah, 80/20. Yeah, 400 yards.
It's called Stripe Me Up.
Stripe Me Up. This is her stripe sock base, and that's basically what she does. And what I like very much about hers is I find often the striped sock yarns are really bold, and
This is more subtle, neutral.
hers are more subtle, neutral, and that's kind of what I want a lot of the time. I mean, I don't always want to be wearing bold socks.
Yeah, it's so squishy. Yeah, so
It's squishy. It's lovely.
it's pretty.
Look at that.
Matches my
Oh,
nail
yours
polish.
is looking blue, even though it's black.
Well, it's a gray. Maybe it's better back here. I don't know.
Oh, it's more the color on this side.
Yeah, it's the light.
The other side's turning it, because the light somehow is turning it blue when it's not blue.
That is so weird.
It is weird. Yeah. So that's the main Stas acquisition for me.
Go ahead.
The other thing I got was my package of minis from Niddly Amy B as part of our mini swap.
Second quarter.
Second quarter of the mini swap. And I don't know, Amy, did you happen to know that I have a thing for caramels? Because there are tons of caramels in here. Lancaster and Werther's, and there's some yummy tea. There's the Yogi Stress Relief, and I am very excited about this Tazo Passion because I've heard a couple of people talk about it. One person is Inside Number 23, Katie. She's talked about this. And just some gorgeous, gorgeous minis. Like this Knit Pick Stroll in a sparkly pink. And there's some Dreamin' Color. Smooshy in the Good Luck Jade. I'm really excited about. And I know some of these she used in a shawl. Oh, Across the Pond shawl by Mina. And then this one was she hand-dyed herself, and it's called Fairy Baby. I think that's really sweet. And for some reason, once again, it's getting washed out by the light. And it came with a progress keeper, which is just beautiful. So, thank you, Amy. Lots of other stuff in here. Ooh, this one's really pretty. Oh, it's the Wool and Vine Blitzed. I hadn't in the fairy hair. I have been coveting.
There you go.
Oh my. Oh, it's really nice to see this in real life. I don't know if the colors are going to come out.
Oh yeah.
Are they?
Yep.
It's quite earthy.
It's subtle.
It's very subtle. It's just beautiful. Thank you. Just going to sit here and stare at these for a little while.
So what I got when I saw this
What'd you get?
on Instagram, I just about flipped my bleep.
I wonder what that looks like.
And I was just like, I have to have that, and I have to have it now.
And I just thought it was awesome because
She's
this is
Canadian.
and it's Yarn Friendly, and that's the name of her shop as well.
Yep, I have her.
And she's a member of our group. And it's the upcoming Canada Cal, and she made these.
Yeah, and she had some with moose, and I was like, I had to get the ones with the beavers. But the good news is she's put one of these with the moose on it aside for a prize for the Canada Cal.
That's very nice.
So it's
Really,
beautiful.
really nice.
It's got a really nice big handle.
It's got a
Quilting
really nice
interface.
quilting interface, and
It's big. It's housing my Yarn It and my project, my Waiting for Rain. So, yeah. I love it. I love how that is centered. It's awesome.
actually the other day when I went to the place where I bought my sewing machine, it's a quilting shop essentially, and they sell Bernina sewing machines. They had a whole section of Canadian fabrics.
And she sent me some tea. David's tea, which is Sent a Secret. And then the other thing I got was my mini package from Stephanie, but this is not part of the swap. This is just a swap we did on the side. So, first thing that's mentioned...
Oh, that looks like Tazo tea.
Tazo tea, so organic bamble wine and organic peach cobbler.
Ooh.
Like, who could go wrong? And there was some peppermint in there, but I don't like peppermint, which is no big deal. Not everybody knows that. So Selma gets that.
I like peppermint.
And there was a lot of minis in here. Hard to get them out. The tags. I love the tags. I really need to get something like that for mine. So there's these tags with like
polka
dots and zebra stripes and stars, and so she has sent me some trekking, some knit picks in a palette tonal,
some Madeline Tosh Merino Light in a one of a kind colorway.
Molly Girl, Diva Fingering. I've never heard of that.
Oh no! And this one is Knit Picks palette tonal as well, in a kind of.
Then we have some online Super Sock, which is like a stripy one. This one is Rain City Knits, which is kind of cool, from BC.
Ella Ray Lace Merino. I love. Whenever I see, I've never actually bought any, but whenever I see the Ella Ray Lace,
I didn't realize this. Republic of Wool in the Stardust colorway. Limited edition Sock Club colorway.
It's beautiful.
Look at that.
It's beautiful.
And then the last one is some Lorna's Laces Shepherd Sock.
This rivals the Pirates Love Rainbows. Hurt. Oh, beautiful.
And the other stash I have is a camper who was in my cabin for winter camp. Bought me a pattern.
Oh.
And I thought it was so cool. I've had the Foolproof by Louise Zass Bangham in my queue and wish list for a while. But the amazing thing about this is it has 2 versions. So this version is the Free Spirits version. And so we'll try and get a close picture. That's what that one looks like. And that's the front. It's just a different, like it's a different stripe pattern, basically, is what it is.
Yeah, and it's interesting because it's a cowl, but it looks like it starts off kind of like, and finishes off like a triangular shawl.
How about a cowl with no casting on and no binding off?
Gotta love that.
The way you make it, it ends up. So I wanted to thank you. I'm not going to mention your name because I didn't ask permission, but that was really appreciative. And I've gotten a few messages from people saying, you know, they had fun in camp. I was a good camp leader, and they loved the way I did the prizes, like the points prizes, and then the other one was sent to me. It's a bunch of patterns from the Magic Cake Shawl workshop we took with José, who is Tricoton. She sent a file that has a whole bunch of different links to shawls that you could make with a magic cake. So there is Far Away So Close, shawl of many colors, simple yet effective, bulky. You can see them there.
We really gotta use our magic cakes.
Yep.
I think after the Frankensocks, we should think about a
like
magic cake cowl.
Like bunches of them. Look how many there is. Like she just made this file that has all these shawls. Some are free, some are paid, some are asymmetrical, some are rectangular. And I think there's
Thank you for the homework you did, José.
Yeah, there's a lot of triangular. So thank you very much for sending the file. I really appreciate it. And that's
actually the magic cake shawl idea is kind of like a Franken shawl. I mean,
it is
really. You know, I mean, you can manipulate it just like you could the Frankensocks.
I would probably do a Russian join. Because I find the magic cake one, like the thing you do, it's a little bump. But I mean, it's worsted weight and fingering and whatever, so you might not end up seeing that. So, anything else?
In terms of stash, I think that's it.
That's it.
Yeah,
that's all she wrote, folks.
That's it. Are you kidding? Is it done? Are
we
over?
Done. Hey, we're an hour and 9 minutes for the two of us. Oops. It's okay. So let us know what you think of the lighting. We've changed that. And, you know, going on 4 years in the podcast, we'll get it eventually. And my husband has ordered us a tripod for the light so that we have it on a tripod and not precariously kind of balancing over there. Yeah. If you could see it, it'd be... and you probably noticed we haven't been doing any giveaways lately. We're taking a break.
Well, we've got the sock one.
Yeah.
That we did at the end of, or beginning of April. That's been sent out. And
we have the mini swaps together, but we're taking a break on prizes, like doing giveaways.
Well, and if something comes up, it comes up. But for now,
that's it.
And so we're off for the rest of the weekend. Ooh, scrumptious pearl.
Sorry. Wait. Hi, Mina. I'm Amina. Now I'm getting silly.
Mina's got probably the most adorable cat. That little Hugo.
Two of them are adorable.
They're both, but I think Hugo's the more extroverted one.
Hugo's the one that comes on the podcast a lot.
That's right. Derek seems to be kind of a little bit more, likes the quiet.
Mm-hmm.
Anyway, I could eat up that little kid. He's so cute and furry and smushy.
And now we're
rambling.
Rambling.
So have a good rest of the day,
rest
morning,
of the weekend,
whatever, whenever you're watching.
If it's sunny outside like here, go for a walk, get some fresh air, or sit on the couch and knit,
Yeah. Take care, everybody.
Bye.
Bye.
Smile.